Welcome back to SWAYAM program on IT applications in libraries. Today we are going to learn about another interesting topic, that is publication ethics and its guidelines. This is today's agenda. What is ethics? Key aspects of publication ethics. Then various guidelines like the Committee on Publication Ethics, COP, legal and ethical implications, challenges, issues of COP, WAME, World Association of Medical Editors, and the major recommendations of publication ethics by WAME, and our conclusion part. Learners, now let us discuss about what is ethics. Ethics refers to the principles and standards that guide individuals and organizations in determining what is right and what is wrong, what is fair and what is unfair, what is just, what is unjust. It is a system of moral values that influences decision making and behavior, ensuring actions align with societal norms, laws, and expectations. Ethics applies across various fields, including personal life, professional conduct, and institutional practices, as well as research and publication areas, emphasizing integrity, honesty, and responsibility and respect for others. So we can say that ethics is a norms for conduct that distinguish between acceptable and unacceptable behavior. It is a rules for distinguish between right and wrong. It is a method, procedure, or a perspective for deciding how to act, for analyzing complex problems and issues. It is a standards for behavior that suits their particular aims and goals in disciplines, institutions, and professions. These standards also help members for the discipline to coordinate their actions, activities, and to establish the public's trust of the discipline. And moreover, an ethics is a principles, values, morals, etc., that you will be expected to follow. Now let us discuss what is publication ethics. Publication ethics refers to a set of principles and standards that govern the ethical behavior of authors, editors, reviewers, and publishers in the process of scholarly publishing. These guidelines ensure the integrity, transparency, and accountability of the research and its dissemination. Adhering to publication ethics is crucial for maintaining trust in the academic community, upholding the credibility of research, and preventing misconduct such as plagiarism, fabrication, falsification, or duplicate submissions. The foundation of publication ethics lies in promoting honesty, in reporting research, respecting intellectual property, acknowledging contributions, and avoiding conflicts of interest. It also emphasizes the importance of peer review as a mechanism to uphold the quality and validity of published work. Ethical publishing practices are guided by organizations such as the Committee on Publication Ethics, which provides framework for addressing issues like retractions, corrections, and disputes. In an era of rapid digital dissemination, ethical considerations in publications have gained given greater importance. Researchers, editors, and publishers must navigate challenges such as predatory journals, data privacy concerns, and ensuring accessibility to research while maintaining rigorous standards. By fostering a culture of ethical publication, the academic community safeguards the integrity of knowledge and role in societal advancement. These are the key aspects of publication ethics, like duplicate submission, salami slicing, no permission for data information usage, copyright infringement, image manipulation, data fabrication, plagiarism, falsification, authorship issues, conflicts of interest, non-disclosure of safety procedure, simultaneous submission, no informed consent. So these are the unethical practices where we will be finding in the publication process. So one should be refrain from all such type of misconduct. So now we have to discuss what it is actually. Simultaneous submission means submitting the same manuscript to multiple journals at the same time. For example, an author submits the research paper to journal A and the journal B simultaneously, violating the journal policies and wasting the editorial resources. It is an unethical practice. Uninformed consent is another unethical practice. That means conducting research involving human participants without obtaining their explicit consent. For example, a clinical trial where participants are not informed about the risk or purpose of the study. Duplicate submission, republishing the same research in multiple journals or venues without proper acknowledgements. For example, an author publishes their study in a journal X and then publishes it in a journal Y with minor modifications. Next is conflicts of interest. Conflicts of interest means failing to disclose relationships or interests that could influence the research. For example, a pharmaceutical company funds a drug efficacy study, but the researchers do not disclose the funding source. Copyright infringement, using copyrighted material without obtaining permission or providing attribution. For example, including graphs or images from another publication without proper credit. Next is authorship issues. Misrepresenting authorship by including or excluding individuals unfairly. For example, including a senior researcher as an author who did not contribute, or omitting a junior researcher who contributed significantly. These are the authorship issues. Another practice we'll finding is a salami slicing, dividing one significant study into smaller parts to increase publication count. For example, reporting the methodology in one paper, the result in another paper, and the discussion in third, all based on the same data sets. Non-disclosure of safety procedures, failing to report safety protocols in experiments, especially hazardous research. Example, a lab study on chemical reactions omits details about the measures taken to prevent toxic exposure. No permission for data or information usage, using data without obtaining the necessary permission from data owners. For example, a researcher uses a proprietary data set from a company without authorization or proper citation. The next unethical practice we generally found that data falsification, altering research data to fit desired outcomes. For example, modifying experimental result to ensure statistical significance. Data fabrication, making up data or result and reporting them as a real. For example, a researcher invents survey responses instead of conducting the survey. Plagiarism, using someone else's work or ideas without giving proper credit. For example, a researcher copying a text from a published article and presenting it as an original work. Image manipulation, altering images to misrepresent research findings. Image manipulation, altering images to misrepresent research findings. For example, adjusting a microscopy image to make result appear more significant than they are. Peer review misconduct, actions that compromise the fairness, integrity, or confidentiality of the peer review process. This includes biased reviews, breaking confidentiality, or fabricating feedback. For example of biased reviews, a reviewer deliberately provides a negative review to reject a competitor's paper or favor a friend submission despite its flaws. Breaking confidentiality, a reviewer shares unpublished findings from a manuscript they reviewed with their own research group. Fabricating feedback, a reviewer provides false or irrelevant feedback to delay the publication of a competitor's paper. So these are the peer review misconduct. Repeat. Citation manipulation. It is very common nowadays. What is citation manipulation? It is intentionally adding or causing excessive citations to boost the citation count of a particular author, editor, or journal, often for unethical gain. For example, self citation abuse. An author excessively cite their own work, even if unrelated to the current study, to inflate their citation metrics. Coercive citation. A journal editor forces authors to cite articles from their journal to artificially increase its impact factor. Citation cartels. A group of researchers or journals mutually cite each other's work to enhance citation metrics artificially. Another unethical practices that generally we found is publishing in pediatric journals. Submitting research to journals that charge authors fee without providing legitimate peer review or quality publishing services, often for profit. For example, poor quality review. A pediatric journal accepts a purely written paper or even a nonsensical text without any peer review as long as the author pays the publication fee. Misleading metrics. A journal falsely claims a high impact factor or reputable indexing status to attract submissions. Fake conferences and journals. Predatory publishers lure researchers to submit papers or attend conferences under the guise of legitimate academia. But these conferences, events, and the publications lack credibility. Learners, now let us discuss about different guidelines given related to publication ethics. The Committee on Publication Ethics, COP, is an international organization that provides guidelines and resources for publishers, editors, and researchers to uphold ethical standards in academic publishing. Established in 1997, COP aims to promote best practices in scholarly publishing and to ensure the integrity of academic literature by providing advice on a wide range of ethical issues such as publication misconduct, authorship disputes, plagiarism, and conflicts of interest. COP's role is crucial in maintaining the credibility and trustworthiness of academic journals and articles. It offers a forum of discussions and a structured framework for resolving ethical dilemmas in publishing. This ensures that researchers, publishers, and readers can engage with scholarly work that is credible, transparent, and ethical sound. The legal and ethical implications of COP: maintaining integrity in research, promoting transparency in authorship and conflicts of interest, ensuring fair and ethical peer review, encouraging open and responsible publication practices. Maintaining integrity in research. The COP guidelines help editors and publishers to address issues such as plagiarism, falsification of data, and other unethical practices in academic publishing. The following COP's recommendations, editors can take steps to prevent and address misconduct, such as retracting articles or issuing corrections when necessary. This is vital for preserving accuracy and integrity of the academic record, maintaining the integrity in the research. For example, if a researcher is found to have plagiarized content or falsified data, COP provides a framework for how publishers should handle such misconduct, which may include withdrawing the paper and issuing a formal retraction. These actions protect the academic community from the spread of misleading or fraudulent information. Promoting transparency in authorship and conflicts of interest. COP offers valuable advice on ethical authorship practices, ensuring that all individuals who contribute significantly to a publication are appropriately credited. This prevents issues related to ghost authorship and guest authorship, where individuals are either unfairly excluded from the authorship list or added without contributing meaningfully. Additionally, COP emphasizes the importance of managing conflicts of interest in academic publishing. Editors and authors must disclose any potential conflicts of interest that might influence the research or its interpretation, ensuring that the publication process remains unbiased and transparent. Ensuring fair and ethical peer review. A critical aspect of ethical publication is the peer review process, which ensures the quality and reliability of academic work. COPE offers guidelines to ensure that peer review is conducted fairly, transparently, and without any bias. For example, COP's guidelines address issues such as reviewers' conflict of interest, anonymity, and how to handle peer review misconduct, including reviewers who fail to declare a conflict of interest or who provide biased feedback. COPE encouraging open and responsible publishing practices. COPE also supports the movement of open access in scholarly publishing by encouraging transparency in publication process. It advocates for open access of research findings and believes that scholarly work should be freely available to the public. However, COP also recognizes the need for proper licensing and copyright management to prevent misuse or exploitation of authors' work. And the challenges and issues of COP, the major challenges include limited enforcement power. While COP provides guidelines and recommendations, it does not have the authority to enforce its rule across all publishers or journals. Its influence relies on voluntary adherence by member publishers and editors. This lack of enforcement power can sometimes result in non-compliance or inconsistent applications on ethical standards. Another challenge is awareness and education. COP's guidelines may not be universally known, especially in developing countries or smaller academic institutions. Evolving nature of scholarly publishing is another challenge the COP is facing. The rapid evolution of scholarly publishing, particularly with the rise of digital media and open access platforms, poses challenges in keeping up with new ethical dilemmas. COP must continuously update its guidance to address emerging issues such as the ethics of preprints, the use of artificial intelligence in research, and the handling of data privacy in an increasingly interconnected world. Another challenge is global differences in ethical standards. The global nature of academic publishing means that ethical standards can vary widely between regions and cultures and countries. COP works to bridge these gaps, but aligning global ethical standards in publishing remains a complex and ongoing challenge. The another guidelines that is known as WAME, World Association of Medical Editors. WAME, World Association of Medical Editors, established in the year 1995, is a non-profit voluntary association of editors of peer-reviewed medical journals from countries throughout the world who seek to foster international cooperation among education of medical journals editors. Membership in WAME is free and all decisions making editors of peer-reviewed medical journals are eligible to join. Membership is also available to selected scholars in journal editorial policy and peer review. The important objectives of WIM uh, include to facilitate worldwide cooperation and communication among editors of peer-reviewed medical journals, to improve editorial standards, to promote professionalism in medical editing through education, self-criticism, and self-regulation, to encourage research on the principles and practices on medical editing. Recommendations on publication ethics. The WIM recommends that conflicts of interest in peer-reviewed medical journals, editors should ensure transparency by requiring disclosure of any financial or personal interest that could bias the research or decision-making process. The next recommendation is study design and ethics. Journals must verify that submitted studies adhere to ethical standards, including approval by relevant ethics committees. Authorship. Authors listed on papers must meet specific criteria for contribution and responsibility to ensure accountability. Peer review, a rigorous and impartial peer review process is essential to maintain scientific quality and credibility. Editorial decisions. Editors should base publication decision solely on the manuscript's quality, relevance, and originality, free from outside influence. Originality, prior publications, and media relations. Manuscripts must represent original work, not previously published, and media discussion should respect the embargo policies. Plagiarism. Journals must actively guard against plagiarism and take appropriate actions if detected. Advertisement. Next is advertising. Advertisements in journals should not influence editorial content and must be clearly distinguishable. Responding to allegations of possible misconduct, editors should investigate allegations of misconduct transparently and take necessary corrective measures. Dear learners, let us conclude with the remark that publication ethics is a cornerstone of scholarly communication, ensuring the credibility, reliability, and integrity of research contributions. By adhering to ethical principles, researchers, editors, and publishers collectively uphold the trust placed in academic work and foster a transparent and accountable research ecosystem. The commitment to ethical publishing not only protects intellectual property and prevents misconduct, but also supports the broader goals of knowledge dissemination and societal progress. In a rapidly evolving digital landscape where challenges such as predatory practices and data integrity persist, maintaining ethical standards is more critical than ever. Embracing publication ethics help to safeguard the academic record, promote fair practices, and inspire confidence among the readers, scholars, and the public. Ultimately, ethical publishing strengthens the foundation upon which scientific inquiry and innovation thrive, ensuring its enduring values for future generations. These are some of the important references. I stop here. Thank you very much for your patient listening. We will be meeting with another topic in the next class. Thank you once again.